It has been nearly 5 weeks of testimony, but jurors are now weighing the two different pictures painted of Letitia Stauch, who's admitted to killing her 11-year-old stepson.
You'll likely have even more incentive to watch your speed when driving. Hear about the bill that's now on the governor's desk.
Privileged to have the opportunity to carry out to help find where the grandfather's buried here.
The grave of a Colorado man who lived to fight for others' rights was missing for decades until now. See how he is finally being honored. Pretty nice Friday in Denver, but look at the wind whipping out east. Drivers on I-70 near Bennett could hardly see a thing when the dust started blowing. Of course, that one vehicle plowed through there like a scene out of Mad Max. That was just before 4 o'clock. 30 minutes later, things started to clear up, but things aren't that clear right now. That massive dust cloud wreaking havoc. These are the live pictures right now.
Yeah, looking pretty bad. At times, visibility is good. At times, you just can't see even a foot in front of you. It looks like there is another crash out there now with the westbound lanes closed. Earlier today, there was a crash because of brownout conditions. There is a dust storm warning in effect until 5:45. The wind has kept flights from landing and taking off at DIA. David Oxley could see the blowing dust at the airport. It is the second straight day of wind that's caused a ground stop, if you've been keeping track. At last check, 5 minutes ago, flights are still not taking off and landing.
And yet, if you've been in Denver today, most of it has seen a lot of sun, some clouds as well. You can see some dark clouds now closing in on the city skyline. Of course, Kathy's going to join us in just a couple minutes with a full breakdown of what to expect this weekend. That's coming up.
4 hours of deliberations, but so far no verdict for a woman accused of killing her stepson. Police say Letitia Stauch killed her son, Gannon, and then dumped his body in Florida.
So a jury now deciding whether she was legally insane when she did it. 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow continues to follow the case. Matt?
Tom, after 3 hours of closing arguments from the defense and prosecution, the jury got the case right around 1 o'clock this afternoon, and we are still waiting for a verdict. On January 27, 2020, Letitia Stauch shot, stabbed, and killed her 11-year-old stepson Gannon in their home in Colorado Springs. She then put his body in a suitcase, drove to Florida, and tossed the suitcase over a bridge. The suitcase was found a few weeks later with Gannon's body still inside. Prosecutors say Stauch hated Gannon because she knew Gannon would never love her as much as he loved his actual mother. Stauch's attorney, however, told the jury a much different story. He said Stauch was legally insane when she brutally attacked Gannon and therefore should be found not guilty by reason of insanity.
No, this was not premeditated murder. This was a psychotic break. That is the only thing that makes sense.
Can this defendant distinguish right from wrong? The evidence and her actions tell you that she can.
If convicted of first-degree murder, Letitia Stauch would face life in prison without the possibility of parole. We'll let you know just as soon as we have a verdict. Kim and Tom.
It's been a terrible case from the beginning, and it's been a very rough trial to watch. Still waiting for a conclusion, though.
Yeah, a lot for the jurors to consider. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks.
An El Paso County Sheriff's deputy who recently went missing but was found safe is missing again. The National Park Service says 56-year-old Kevin Cipher of Parker was last seen Sunday afternoon in the Sand Beach Lake parking area near the Wild Basin entrance of Rocky Mountain National Park. He had gone missing just days before from Thursday, April 27th to Saturday the 29th. Then he was reunited and found with his family. Then the next day, Sunday the 30th, he was with a family member at the national park when he reportedly walked away on his own. Park rangers say that Cipher is 6'2", 180 pounds, with gray hair, wearing a gray hoodie and also cowboy boots.
There could soon be more eyes watching your driving. A bill that would allow more speed cameras on Colorado roadways is headed now to the governor's desk. That bill would allow cities to use speed cameras as they do red light cameras. They could only be used, though, to spot traffic violations. Also, signs would have to be posted telling drivers they're about to enter a speed monitoring zone. The bill would also cap the fee for those tickets at $40.
The bill to help lower the property tax increases that shocked homeowners is now in the House. The Senate passed it last night. The House Appropriations Committee is scheduled to take up the bill tomorrow, but the clock is ticking. Lawmakers only have until Monday, the last day of the session, to pass it before it can appear on the November ballot. The measure would allow the first $40,000 of your home's value to not be taxed, making the tax increases less extreme, but certainly not erasing them. The governor's proposal would use your Tabor refund money to backfill money from property taxes that would normally go toward water, fire, and hospital districts.
Colorado is going to get millions of federal dollars to help our defense against wildfire this season. The U.S. Forest Service is giving the state $38 million to expand wildfire barriers in several national forests in Colorado. Of course, those barriers can slow a fire's spread and help firefighters' chances of putting those fires out. Those funds will also help support jobs in the forestry industry on the western slope.
The descendants of a family chased out of a Colorado town because of racism years ago have returned for a special moment.
Their grandfather's grave, which was lost for decades, has been found again in Lafayette, and now his headstone is finally in place. Today actually marks 94 years since the advocate for coal miners died.
And as Jeremy Hahola shows us, his family is back to make the wrongs of the past right.
A Mexican immigrant and a family man, Salvador Jose Samano, was a powerful force in Lafayette, Colorado in the early 1900s. He stood at more than 6 feet, had dark skin, and was a union advocate for coal miners. He was also hated by the KKK.
It is rumored that he was killed by the KKK. Today, we're here writing history the way it should be written.
94 years to the day after Samano may have been poisoned, Samano's grandson, David, is visiting Lafayette.
My grandmother was ran out of this town and put on a train and sent to California. All the Samanos were ran out of this town shortly after his death.
Respected in life, but lost in death for decades, Samano's resting place vanished from Lafayette's records.
We're in an area called Potter's Field, and that's where they buried the immigrants and the people that the KKK did not like. They didn't even consider them as humans. And the city did not record any of those burials.
But finally, a new headstone for Samano. Local activist Frank Archuleta found the gravesite after searching through old church and mortuary records. He believes dozens of graves remain lost below the earth.
And this was all weeds down here. But our families, the Chicanos, Latinos, Mexicanos, they're all in this area right here.
It had a city water box and city water lines on top of it, and people just walked on his grave and desecrated it. The Samanos have traveled, a lot of them, including myself, but a lot of them have driven over 1,000 miles to be here.
And those who lie here remain with him in heaven.
94 years after his death, a celebration of Samano's place in the past and present.
In the name of the Father.
A memorial for a man whose children would go on to serve their country, a symbol for a true American family.
These are Lafayette's children. They did this after being ran out of Lafayette, put on a train.
Whether in life or death we belong.
It doesn't matter who you are. We're all here. We're all great American patriots.
Frank Archuleta, who found the grave, is trying to get the city of Lafayette to acknowledge the others who are buried there in unmarked resting spots. He believes many of them are children, and he has a list of surnames. Many of these surnames are Hispanic, with Hispanic backgrounds.
Would it be similar to a tomb of the unknown? They really don't have identification for most.
They don't. He has a list of dozens of names, people who've been lost over the years. It's an old cemetery, and it was a cemetery that was, controlled by people in Lafayette at the time who didn't really think too highly of immigrants back then.
His efforts, you would hope a lot of people would jump in and help him.
Yeah, he has some help out there, so hopefully,
but even more.
Yeah, perhaps he'll get the city council to get on board and potentially get a plaque out there. That's his goal, with the names of people who've been lost.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for that story. That was beautiful.